Yo.
What up,
bruh? Woo.
Episode 87, baby. Let's go. Welcome back, everybody, to the Carbon Footprint Podcast. He's Juan and I'm Sean. And every week we get together, have a few drinks, talk about things going on in the world, try to focus on things making an impact, whether they be good, bad, or otherwise. Get your pen and paper out. Hit him with a drink.
Yo, man, we are something delicious this week, man. Sean hit us up with a strawberry gin smash.
Yep.
This thing is delicious, man. It's did about a quarter lime, 3 strawberries, and you half an ounce of simple syrup, muddle, and
or sugar.
Or sugar. You could
we
do
did
the sugar
simple syrup because it's easier.
Yeah. And then you throw in the ice, you throw in the 2 ounces of gin, and top off with some elderflower tonic we did today. Stir it up and serve. And then if you don't like tonic, you can try club soda. It works fine, but the tonic hits different, man.
Yes.
It definitely hits different, man.
And then we're using, what the hell do we use here? It's a Q?
Mm-hmm.
That the brand?
Yeah,
Q,
the brand's Q.
Elderflower tonic?
Yep. And use Q or use Fever Tree, man. Like, I can't stress enough. It's like
it's different.
Yeah, dude. It's like using Coca-Cola or like the supermarket
like
brand Czech Cola. Like if you're gonna do a mixer, man, just get the name brand stuff. Like get the Fever Tree or get the Q. It does make a difference, man.
Yeah,
big difference.
And Fever Tree makes one that's like, what is it? Like has like lime in it?
Yeah, citrus. Yeah, that's great.
That one is fantastic. And we use the Tanqueray Rangpur
lime, man. If you're watching on YouTube, yeah, get that. This stuff is fantastic. Like this has been our go-to gin as of late.
That one is really good.
So good, man. And like you said, with that citrus tonic, whew, that one's great. But this one, man, one more time, quarter lime, 3 strawberries, half an ounce of simple syrup or sugar, muddle it in a glass, throw in the ice, put in 2 ounces of gin, top it off with that elderflower tonic, and stir it up. You ready to go? This stuff is good, boys.
And strawberries are in season right now.
Mm-hmm. Are they?
I think so, man. Typically, don't they get picked in the wintertime?
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I don't know anything. They just be sure at the supermarket. I ain't never been strawberry picking.
There's a lot of them right now.
I know there's places here where you can go pick them.
Yeah.
I've never done it.
I've done it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've done it.
Was it cool?
Yeah, I mean, we took the kids, they were really young, and we took them in there, and we just like, you get like a big ass basket, and then you pay by the weight.
Okay.
But you get some you can pick really good ones, really big ones, whatever you need, whatever you like. So it was a good experience.
That's cool. I'd just be like,
but these are from Publix.
Yeah, I'm gonna just let the pros handle their thing and package it for me, and I'll just go get it in nice weather in a temperature controlled environment. It's super good, man. It's fire, dude.
Awesome.
So good, man.
All right, man. Yo, Carbon Footprint of the Week goes out to the GOAT, Tom Brady, who is announced, I guess unofficially announced his retirement. There was some rumors earlier, actually a couple of days ago, that he was going to retire. He kind of waved off those first reports, but then came out. Was it on Instagram or Twitter?
Yeah,
or something,
I
right?
think all of them. He did Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. He basically put the same post across all his platforms.
Yeah, which basically says that he's hanging up the shoes and moving on to greener pastures, right? But this dude, man, I mean, so obviously you have that impact of being around through his entire career, and so. Definitely, to me, definitely the guy is the greatest of all time as far as football is concerned. It's arguable to go across sports, but dude, I was looking at this shit. Through his career, so he started in 2001, and he played for 20 years. So he played to this year, right, 2021. 7 Super Bowls, which is ridiculous, dude. So, and I didn't even realize this. From 2005 to 2013, he doesn't go to Super Bowl,
which is crazy
for him, right? For him, but look at these records, bro. Where the hell is it? Is the right one? Hold on.
Because he still has winning records. It's not like the team sucks. They're still getting in the playoffs, but those are the years they're losing to like Indianapolis.
Correct.
They're losing to who else is going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's a couple teams that get in.
So check this out. I'm sorry. So here it goes: 10-6, 12-4, the 16-0 season, that they ended up losing to the Giants, right?
Wow.
He's hurt the next year. Only plays one game. That was the Garoppolo year, right?
That's right. No, that's the Matt Castle year.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Then he goes 10-6, 14-2, 13-3, 12-4, and 12-4. Bro, this guy's career is just like it's
unmatched.
Yeah, it's
in the NFL.
It's like a video game, dude.
It really is, man.
And then I thought about his last game, which obviously was last weekend, actually 2 weekends ago. The team that he's on, Tampa, lost the game, but what a performance!
Oh God, it was vintage Tom Brady.
Right, he brings them back to win, and then
his defense cost him the game. Really,
I was gonna say that. And wasn't it the same safety that got beat twice?
Beat twice in a row.
But by the same
guy,
yeah.
And by a guy who's like, that's the guy you defend.
Right.
It's the one guy in the field. You're like, don't lose him.
Don't let him get behind you.
And I would also argue too, man. Whoever called that play let him down by not giving him safety help over the top, and not to get too technical, but like you don't leave Cooper Kupp or O.J. Beckham in that scenario 1-on-1.
Yeah.
Like if I'm Stafford or whatever quarterback, you're like, oh, you're gonna leave this. I'm just throwing this shit up, like, because those guys are gonna win their matchups like 90% of the time 1-on-1. I don't care who you have, but that safety guy just burned, bro.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even close. Like when the ball goes up, I'm like, it's one of those where he chucks it and you're like, no way, that dude's that open. And then when the camera kind of pans over and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. And wow, man. But so he did his job though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, I kind of feel like him going out. I would love to see him go out on top, right?
Yeah, winning a Super Bowl. Yeah,
but man, to go out in that fashion,
but in a loss that we don't blame on him,
right?
And dude, was there ever a point in that game where you went, "Oh shit, Tampa's gonna lose this"?
No,
never. Right, dude. Even when they're down, whatever it was, like was it 28 to what or 18?
No, 17-3.
Yeah, something like that. And I was never like, "Oh, they're done." It was like, nah, Brady's on the other side. I don't care if you got 5 minutes left and you're down 3 scores. Right. Like, this motherfucker's going to figure it out. Like, and sure enough, bro, he's like, he did, man. Dude, like, and so in some ways you're going, does he hang it up because he wants to go before he starts to show that decline?
And that's the thing. So I thought about, does he come back for some like, almost like a farewell tour, kind of like Kobe did?
Yeah.
Because you go like, man, the guy's giving us 20 years of greatness. Like, it would be cool to go, hey, we get to see Tom Brady one last time. He's coming to town, or I'm going to go see a game or whatever, right?
Yeah, like when Jeter did that, it was cool.
Yeah.
Like, like you got, like I think I went to a game that season here, and Jeter sort of farewell.
Oh, I did too. Yep.
Yeah.
In Tampa.
It was like, you had to, you last season, whatever, and he deserved that. He said, it's something about his, like, I don't know, his personality, based on what we've seen the last 20 years, told me that he wasn't going to be that guy.
Right.
Like, he's always been sort of this, like, all about football, team first, like, no distractions, that whole Belichickian thing. Like,
right.
So I always felt like his retirement was always just going to come on he's either going to just start taking 1-year deals at a time, but he'll never tell you, before, like, this is my last season.
Right.
I kind of always felt that way about him. But you just never know, man, because ego trumps everything a lot of times, right? Where you just go, nah, I want the the attention and the accolades and all that. And so.
But I do feel like if that was his last performance, still, what a way to go out.
Yeah, you're going, fucking safety cost him that game. This guy did his thing.
He went out like vintage Brady style, like, bringing his team back and just doing his thing.
And if you're him, do you factor that in? Because you go, if I lose next year, chances are I'm not losing like that. Like I look good in a loss.
Right.
Like I may get blown out next time.
Yeah. What if you like don't make the playoffs?
Yeah. And then you retire. And then that's what we remember. Yeah. So like in some ways you go, okay, I get it.
And then you'll go, he's played too long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's in this scenario right now, there's no way anyone can say he played too long.
No, for your legacy, you do it. In some ways, though, right? Like as fans, you want to be like, as fans, and as also, sports is one of those things, man. Like it's finite, right? Like there's an end to where you physically can't do it anymore. So a lot of times, I want to be like, just do it till you can't. Like you can always go be an announcer or run a clothing brand or do whatever. Mm-hmm. Like you can only do this for so many years, and he's already defined or surpassed those expectations. So maybe that plays into it.
Dude, he's 44.
Yeah,
bro.
he shouldn't be anywhere near a football field right now, dude. It's crazy, man. Dude, the quarterback now, the next oldest one is like Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I think he's in his late 38.
Do I have to remind you that 39. I pulled a hamstring at the beach a month ago?
It's funny. He's 44 and he doesn't even have abs. Like, he doesn't even look in shape. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know he is, but he doesn't look like, you don't see Tom Brady and go, man, I want to be in that guy's physique. Like, I want that guy's physique, right? Like, you just don't. I just don't associate him with that. Like, I see T.O. and I'm like, that motherfucker's 50.
My God,
and he looks like a statue, bro.
He could play
like
today, bro.
Yeah, dude. He looks like it, man. I'm like, that looks crazy, but.
Is he 50?
I mean, he's getting there. He's got to be mid to late 40s. He's got to be late 40s. He's older than Brady, I think. Because, dude, T.O. won a Super Bowl, I think, or was at least on those Niner teams with Rice early on, man. Like, T.O. was on those, 91, 92 teams, right? He had some. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, man, he was on the.
I gotta look that up.
I think he was a rookie, dude, like maybe early 90s. He definitely played with Jerry Rice. And I know Jerry Rice had a little second run there on the Raiders and I think then Seattle maybe, but.
All right, so he's 48.
Yeah, dude. See, look at that, man.
So he's a year older than me.
So his rookie year could have been 92, 93. He was on those Niner teams that went to the Super Bowl. I don't think he ever won one, so maybe he was on the losing ones, but maybe he did.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, that guy's in crazy shape. But dude, Brady, I feel like there's an argument to be made. Obviously, I don't think it's debatable at this point that he's the greatest quarterback of all time. I don't think anyone debates that. Like, unlike basketball, there isn't a second person in the NFL that you could go, well, what about... Like, you can't argue Peyton Manning.
Sorry, man. 1996
was his rookie year.
First year.
Man, I thought he was on. No, but so then I guess he technically could have still been on that Steve Young, Jerry Rice team. Then, right?
Well, yeah, that was the. Remember the whole like he caught it. He caught it.
Yeah.
Against Green Bay.
Yep. And they
against
lost,
Brett Favre.
They lost that NFC title game to Green Bay. That's the one that Favre went on to win, right?
No, I think.
Or did he lose that to Denver?
I think they won that game.
Okay, and then because I know Elway beat Atlanta, right? And then he beat Green Bay Packers.
He beat so Green Bay won the year. Then they went back to back, and they lost to Denver.
That's right. Okay, because I think Denver lost back to back Super Bowls too, right? In the late '80s with
either
Elway?
late '80s or early '90s. Yeah,
they lost.
It was like them and the Buffalo Bills were just like they would go like every year and lose.
Dude, Buffalo lost 3 in a row, 3 Super Bowls in a row, right?
I don't remember, but yeah, it's something
3 or 4,
like that. I want to say there was like 4 in like a span of like 6 years, or something like that.
Crazy.
Yeah,
but yeah, dude, Brady, I think indisputable greatest quarterback of all time. I don't think anyone can argue that. I would push that to say greatest NFL player of all time.
Okay,
and I don't even think you could argue that. Dude, is he the greatest sportsman of all time?
Right. That's like
I think that's the debate you're having.
Yeah, is he like on the the Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, of all time athletes. And I know athletes you can remove the like physical ability. We just mean like accolades, accomplishments on the field, that sort of thing.
You hit him up against like a Jordan or a Wayne Gretzky.
Yep.
Or I don't know who do we say in Major League Baseball.
I saw people throwing up like.
Please don't say Babe Ruth.
So I saw people throwing up Babe Ruth, but I remove him from there. I would say Barry Bonds should be Hall of Famer, which we'll get into at some point. But
he didn't make it.
He didn't make it to the Hall of Fame. So can you even include him in that, dude? Because I can't include Tiger. I won't include any of the tennis guys like Nadal and Federer.
So you wouldn't include Tiger?
No, I'm not including anyone who plays individual sports that are only for rich people. So, and I'll tell you why. And I don't want to, and I hate to punish these guys because these guys can only play like the competition that they have,
right? But
they're not playing the best athletes that play those sports, right? Like Roger Federer isn't playing the best athletes in the world who happen to play tennis. Tom Brady is going up against some of the best athletes in the world who also play football. And Michael Jordan is going up against the best athletes in the world who play basketball. And so is LeBron James. So, like, I would say Federer and Tiger Woods, you've automatically sort of watered down your competition because now it's only open to, like, rich kids, right? Like, you don't see... We saw the minute somebody in the ghetto could play tennis, they dominated, right? Like the Venus and Serena. I mean, I don't know how they grew up. Probably middle class, whatever, blue collar. But they were from Compton.
Did you see the movie, bro?
I haven't, man. I want to see
watch the movie.
But they lived in Compton, so I'm gonna say they're not
rich.
by any means, and they dominated. And I'm just gonna go on a limb here and say that if we played tennis in the ghetto here, they would probably dominate tennis, right? So I almost don't.
You sort of add a lot more people to the mix, is what you're saying. Right?
Yes, yeah, the same way you would with soccer. Like when people are like, "Oh, soccer!" Like the best guy in the world right now, or the greatest soccer player of all time, arguably Messi, is 5'8". So right there, I'm going, okay, like the best athletes in the world don't play soccer. Right, so and that's not to take away from Messi because I think he's amazing.
Yeah, he is.
But you don't have a 6'7" guy who weighs 255 pounds playing soccer with you. Like like I feel like that sort of waters down the competition a little bit. So for Tom Brady, I'm going, man. Really, your peers are Michael Jordan, right? LeBron James. You go Wayne Gretzky. I'm not, like another one was like Jimmy Johnson from NASCAR. I'm not throwing in a race car driver. So take those guys out. It's hard to argue, man, that he's not. And we were talking
No,
before,
you have to be, bro.
You have to be the greatest sportsman of all time. You know how hard it is? He's at 10 Super Bowl appearances? 10? That's crazy. That's what? Almost 50% of the time he made it.
He was making it.
Yeah.
No, it is 50% of the time.
50% of the time he was in a Super Bowl. He won it 70% of the time he was in it. And then you go,
and he only think about his losses, right? He has 2 losses to the Giants. One of them was in that 16-0 season.
Yep.
Which they really should have won. That talent on that team should have won.
Yes.
So in my opinion, he should have had 8.
Oh yeah.
And then he lost the one to the Eagles with Big Dick Nick.
Yeah, bro. Nick Foles came in and just took it to him, bro. And honestly, man, if who was it that dropped the pick for them against the Giants? Was it Asante Samuel? Somebody drops that interception. You go, if he catches that,
it's over.
And then you also have the whole Eli play to David Tyree, the helmet catch.
Oh my God, dude, that whole drive was magical.
Just, and you go, there's so many things
I'm like,
there.
this is not happening.
And you don't count them against Brady's, but you're going, he was miracle plays away from having 8, and then who knows, but. I saw some crazy stat like he's more likely to win a Super Bowl than he is to throw an incompletion based on his completion percentage for his career. I'm like, that's so insane, dude. Like his completion percentage is like 68% or 67%, but he's won like however many Super Bowls or whatever it was. It's like for his career, it was like he's more likely to throw an incompletion than he is to throw.
Yeah, then they had some stat. Was it like 2 weekends ago where it was something about he's like played in more games than like these guys have thrown passes or something ridiculous like that, dude. Like the guys that were actually in the playoffs with him.
Dude, it's crazy, man. And I think the other reason I give him sort of a nod in football is because in basketball, one player can have a really big impact on a game because you're playing offense and defense, and there's only 5 of you on a team. In football, there's so much that's out of your control.
Yep. It's the ultimate team sport.
It really is, man. And I get that, yes, like obviously when he goes on offense, he can just score points and that wins. But I would say, man, he impacts defenses as well because Tom Brady walks into your locker room. I think just the leadership you get from that perspective is like people automatically elevate themselves. And so you have to sort of quantify that, like how much does that leadership mean to these guys and do they up their game? Of course they do, right? Tom Brady walks into your locker room, you're like, oh, I better be on my shit because this is.
And guys take pay cuts to play with him.
Yeah, dude, he's the LeBron James now, right? Love, like where people go like, yeah, I'll take $1 million to play with him one season because I'm probably gonna get a ring,
right?
Like and he has better chances of LeBron than obviously giving you that ring, which is crazy in football, bro. Like in football, it's nuts to me, man. Like the more I started going down there, I go, greatest NFL player. I don't even think it's arguable. And then I go, and then when you put him up against sportsmen, I was like, maybe it's being like a prisoner of the moment sort of thing. But I'm like, who do you put up against him? Man?
Yeah, and I thought about, because I from talking to, as I call them, like the old timers, right? That the guys who watched Wilt Chamberlain and gang, right, play early on that would say that he was greater than Michael Jordan. I think that we're definitely prisoners of the moment where we were able to watch him through his career and just be wowed right over that 20-year span. But I wonder, like in 100 years, when you get people who haven't, and maybe not even that long, people that didn't get to watch him play, but are watching other great players, do they look back and they go, do they still sort of go, oh yeah, that was a great player, or that was the greatest of all time? Or do they go, well, the game was different, the athletes are better now, and this guy's better?
Probably, because
right?
I think, like, in some ways I go, like, it's going to be very hard for someone to ever win 7 Super Bowls again, a quarterback. But, like you said, 100 years from now, you'll get inevitably the guy to do it. Is it going to take 20 years, or is it going to take 100 for it to happen again? I feel like it's just going to get harder and harder. People are going to get faster. We're going to get stronger. We're going to careers are going to be longer. You're going to recover from injuries faster.
Dude,
like all that stuff's going to happen.
I wonder if careers do get longer, because the trend over the last couple of years have been, you've seen guys leaving the game earlier.
Yeah, you're right. I think from a physical perspective, they could go longer. I think these guys are getting hip to the idea of, man, let me max out my money by 30, and then while I still have my wherewithal, while I'm not limping, let me go, step off into the sunset. I think these guys are smarter, and I don't know if it's the internet age or I don't know, man, just having more knowledge or surrounding themselves with just knowledgeable people, but like, because they have access to everybody, it's I don't need to do this because this is the only thing I can do. I think these guys are realizing, like, if I'm smart with my money, if I invest it, if I diversify, if I go into these other fields, I don't need to do this that long, because while it is a game that will shorten your life. Yeah. So I think, like Calvin Johnson walked away at 30?
Is that right?
Early 30s. Calvin Johnson walked away, and he could have probably still played another 5 years. Like, he wasn't.
He played for Detroit, bro.
I mean, I would have walked away year one, like Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders, like 25. He was like, nah.
Enough of this place.
This shit sucks. But like, I think these guys are just getting hip to the idea of, if I play my cards right, I don't need the paycheck from this. I can keep getting it in other ways, or at least make my money go further.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's odd, man. Fuck, man, dude. I think it's hard to argue that he's not. The only pushback I would get if I was playing devil's advocate is that Michael Jordan sort of changed pop culture. He changed the league. He changed, like, did Tom Brady change the NFL? I think you could argue yes, because he made the rules more quarterback friendly, right? Because since he came into
Tuck rule.
Yep, the tuck rule. Dude, have you looked at, there's a great video. I don't know if I sent it to you or not, but I saw today of him getting hit. Like, he gets blasted, and it's like early 2000s.
Right.
And it's definitely a hit that's not legal today.
Right.
But when you see it happen, you're like, oh, he's dead. But then today you're going, no one's getting away with him, Patrick Mahomes, like that. Or, so I think he was part of the evolution of, they changed the rules in the NFL to make it more quarterback friendly and more offensive driven. And I think mostly that has to do with eyeballs, because we want to watch an offensive game. So you sort of make it easy. Like the NBA did. The NBA was like, get rid of hand checking, get rid of all this.
Right.
Because people want to see points scored, right? So like, but Michael Jordan, dude, if you factor in the shoes, what he did for pop culture, the
guy
be like Mike stuff, all that.
Yeah, he was the freaking Beatles of the NBA.
He was, and so,
or at least that entire Bulls team.
You have to factor that in, right? Like, he was an absolute rock star.
Yep.
In a sense of, like, and so that's the only other person that I could go, I just don't know that you'll have someone be that. I don't know, man. If both of these guys are walking in the mall, like, who do people flock the most? Like,
that's a great question, man. I mean, because he is a quarterback, his face has been seen on TV, right? So it's not like other football players who don't get the exposure, at least their face exposure. He's definitely got that.
Yeah.
But Michael Jordan, and obviously, basketball players get it more because there's no helmet.
Right.
And there's less guys on the team, right? So you know them more. Man, I don't know, dude.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, because right now, like I said, our kids have never seen Michael Jordan play. They've seen videos maybe on YouTube.
No.
But that's it.
But do your kids even appreciate Tom Brady because he's sort of at the end, or do they like, Patrick Mahomes is the guy?
No,
or Lamar Jackson is the guy.
They know Tom Brady is like,
Tom Brady is the GOAT. Yeah. And maybe because they got to see him win a couple Super Bowls.
Yep.
Yeah, they've watched him win, right? Where, like, all anybody has now are YouTube clips of Michael Jordan crossing over, Brian Russell for the. I also wonder, dude, do you think the Wizard years changed our sort of how we view Jordan? Because Jordan walks away after that Utah title, and you're like, walked away on top, could have kept playing, wins a title.
No, dude, you know what? Because I don't remember the Wizards years.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that too. Like, when I think Michael Jordan, I don't go, oh, those Wizard years.
Yeah.
Like, I never think about it. Yeah, honestly, I think of Michael Jordan, I immediately go to that crossover and Brian Russell in the shot. Like immediately, the Brian Russell, the push off, and then I immediately go to that.
Those Bulls teams that he was on, man, that's what I go to.
But
all right, man, we going too long on this shit.
Man.
But hey, congrats to you, Tom Brady, college football of the week. NFL playoffs this weekend, man. We got to go into that.
We got spoiled, man. The last 2 weeks,
dude. These have been great, bro.
I hope the Super Bowl lives up to that same billing.
Yeah,
We've gotten spoiled, man.
I do too. Yeah. So being that we were talking about Calvin Johnson, man, let's start off with the Rams and Matthew Stafford, bro. Dude, I think that Matthew Stafford was like built for that team.
Yeah.
And here's why. In Detroit, he had an ungodly amount of like fourth quarter comebacks. That team was never great.
They were awful. Yeah.
But he had a lot of fourth quarter comebacks, and finally he gets on a team that has a great defense, and occasionally needs the quarterback to make a play at the end. And he's that guy.
Yeah, he doesn't have to carry
He's
him.
the fourth quarter guy, man. Like that's and man, to put him with that defense and then to give him 2 stud receivers, bro.
Which
I'm like,
Odell's looking like Cleveland's looking real crazy right now.
Yeah. dude, I was the one even going like, oh, he's a cancer.
I mean, I still think that on the wrong team, right? Like, I think this just happened to be, he's older now, and then I think this just happens to be a really good fit. I still think you stick Odell on like, I don't know,
Chicago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's true.
It's trash. Yeah, I did.
But
right place.
but the Rams, man, they've got a lot of stars on that team. And so he's just sort of like one amongst many.
Dude, they're like the Golden State Warriors of football right now.
Yeah, bro.
On defense and offense.
Dude,
it's crazy.
If they lose this Super Bowl, like it is theirs to lose.
Yeah, you're never going to have this much talent on both sides of the ball again.
Yeah.
You figure unless Odell signs, right, for cheap, Cooper Kupp is still on a cheap deal, so you can keep him one more year. Matthew Stafford, obviously, you can keep. You're going to have to pay Aaron Donald, Von Miller. There's another guy.
Yeah, but Von Miller's getting old, no?
He is, but he's still good. And just the attention that he gets, you're like, okay, if you're going to double up, Donald, then you have, then Von Miller gets to eat. And then, but there's the guy. Ramsey. And but there's another guy on their defensive front who's now been like.
Oh, isn't it Floyd?
Stepping up.
Is it Leonard Floyd? Is he on that team? Or was he on the Niners? I forget what team he's on.
Oof. Maybe it's not Floyd. There's a third guy, and I think he's getting attention now because Donald and sort of Miller get a lot of the attention. There's another guy who's just been showing out for them, man.
Dude, let me tell you who I felt sorry for, man, was Deebo Samuels. Dude, that guy. You talk about putting like a team on your back, and not just him alone, right? Like the Niners' defense was amazing, their kicking game was amazing, and Deebo Samuels and who's is it Kittles?
Oh yeah, George Kittle.
George Kittle, like, yeah, dude, like those guys just played amazing. Jimmy G got to go, bro.
You think?
Absolutely, dude. That dude
Jimmy
is
Porn Star, bro. Porn Star Jimmy. Porn Star Jimmy, bro.
Porn Star Jimmy got to go, bro. Let me tell you, the week before, I was like, he's gonna lose the game for them. This is when we were here.
Yeah.
And then they pulled it out.
I think it's tough to take him out, man. No. I think they will. I think you're right. I think they will.
I think it's a wrap.
I think people will be clamoring to sign him.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. I wouldn't be shocked if your boys.
Who needs a... No.
Actually, your boys aren't in the quarterback game anymore, right? Because they feel pretty good about Fields. But, bro, if you look at Jimmy Garoppolo, the first full year he starts with San Fran, he takes them to a Super Bowl. They lose.
Yep.
And they're leading most of that game, right? So the defense kind of blows that one. His second year, he gets hurt. The first year, he got hurt. He was 7-0 and then got hurt. Then comes back, full year, takes him to a Super Bowl. Then he plays another like half year. They're still in the NFC title or in the playoffs. And then this year, he's in an NFC title game again. I think it's hard to argue.
Yeah, but are they getting there on his arm?
Yeah, I guess is he the
bro.
Jared Goff of that team where you go?
By the way, Leonard Floyd. It is Leonard Floyd.
It is Leonard Floyd, right? Okay. Yeah, like he was showing out, man. Yeah. I don't know, man, but who do you go after? Like unless you're gonna get like Aaron Rodgers.
But they just drafted
that kid sucks, man. He's not gonna be a good quarterback, bro. So dude. I'm not taking that kid over Jimmy G.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I don't know. Dude,
you couldn't even get into a Division I college. Like, I'm not taking you, bro. Like, you played at something called North Dakota or whatever the fuck that is, bro. I'm not letting you start on my team, bro. You couldn't get to a D1.
He didn't do bad when he played.
I just think he great either. Not first round good.
He's and he didn't get that much time to play, and I think that Kyle Shanahan doesn't really like Jimmy G. That's my perception from what I've seen. Like, I feel like he takes the ball out of his hands a lot, and rightfully so.
Or is that just knowing that your run game's good and he doesn't have to win? I don't know, man. Like, do you think he has enough weapons? I don't think he's bad. But
he's not bad, bro.
But I don't tend to feel like he's the problem with that team. Now, do you wish you could score more with that defense and that run game? You're like, yeah, you should put up more than 20.
Dude, if they had a better QB.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of free agency and like the draft. Like, who do you replace him with? Like, you have to let him do the one more year because I don't think his contract's up. I think it's just a team option. I think you have to pick it up. That right? I think so. Like, I feel like, again, unless you feel like Trey Lance is that answer,
right?
Then, or you think you can get Aaron Rodgers. Like, that's the other thing. If you can get Aaron Rodgers, then yeah, you jump.
Oh, then you
dump.
Have to.
Yeah, you absolutely dump Jimmy G. And if you're the Packers, do you take Jimmy G for Aaron? Do you trade him if Aaron says I'm out? Because Aaron's gonna ask for a trade.
Now the Packers got the guy who sits behind Aaron Rodgers.
He's trash. Yeah. So yeah, he's hella trash. He's worse. Like, Trey Lance has a better shot of being good than that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
What the hell is his name?
It doesn't Love, matter. Jordan Love. It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Bro.
It doesn't matter what his name is.
Fuck that guy. No. I don't know, man. But
no, but good. But the other game, man, KC Bengals. That was another game. It was KC's to lose. Dude, I think one of the biggest plays was before the half. They're down there like on the 1 yard line, and they go for it with 5 seconds left instead of kicking the field goal, and
Mahomes throws a check down.
Mahomes throws that trash pass,
the swing pass over to Tyreek Hill. Yeah,
it's the only play there is in the end zone.
Yeah, you have to throw it because you go, it's a catch or it's an incomplete so that the clock stops because you're out of timeout. And he even tried to call a timeout, which I thought was weird.
Jackass had to throw a timeout. I was like, no, dude, you're done.
That was odd. So, like, you go back to that scenario and you go, that cost them points because you should have had a field goal, right? And then something similar happened to the Titans the week before where had they gone for 2, then at the end of the game, you're in this scenario where you just run the ball and run the clock out, game over.
Right.
But I wonder, it's that whole, like, I don't know, what's the word? It's the effect of, like, every decision, right, has like a sort of a consequence or a corresponding decision. The entire game plays out differently if that happens, right?
It could, yeah,
like
absolutely.
If he scores, then like we can't assume that they would be up 3. You have to assume that does the Bengals start to pass more or do other stuff because
no, absolutely right. So you don't know what. Like you said, what the consequence is.
Is that butterfly effect? Is that what it's called? The butterfly effect of like one small thing, like sort of changes the course of. Right. I don't know. Is that? I
think you're right on that. But no, but I looked at that play, and then Joe Burrow, man, freaking calm, cool, collective. 3 things. Joe Burrow, the Bengals defense, who's not getting enough credit.
Yeah.
And that kicker, bro.
That fucking kid is.
That kicker from Florida, man.
That kid, bro. Who they drafted like what 3rd, 5th round, something like that.
In the 5th round, I believe.
Like you don't draft a kicker at all, let alone that early, quote unquote. But usually you just let those guys come for tryouts. They got a lot of shit for drafting this kid, but fucking A, man. He's like what 10 for 10 in the playoffs or 12 for 12, some shit like that.
I'm not sure, man, but I just know all of the big kicks the guy's making, man.
And he hits him with swagger, bro. Yep. He walks up to that shit and he's just like, he don't even, bro. They showed the one against the Titans the week before. He didn't even look. He just kicked it and walked away. I was like, this motherfucker, bro. I hope he gets mugged in the parking lot after the game. That shit was so swaggy, bro. I was mad as fuck.
All right, man. So we got Bengals. Actually, no. Before you go into that, Patrick Mahomes. Here's one of my thoughts, man. So a few years ago, he gets into the playoffs. He goes to the NFC or AFC Championship against Brady. Loses.
Yeah.
Right?
In OT.
Right. Next year, he makes Super Bowl and he wins. The following year, makes Super Bowl, he loses. And then this year, now he loses in the AFC Championship. So he's kind of it's almost like he's hit the pinnacle and he's gone back down. I just wonder, does it come back up? Or does it continue to decline? And is his run over?
I wouldn't say over, because I look at this like I look at the Peyton and Brady and maybe Phillip Rivers AFC of like a decade ago, where they'll be battling it out, and it'll be between Burrow. I think it'll be between Allen. It'll
Burrow,
be that
Allen,
Burrow and Allen
Mahomes.
and Mahomes. They're going to be battling it out for that AFC, and really it's going to come down to sort of like the supporting cast, because you're not going to be able to pay Kelsey and Tyreek Hill, and they have another really good receiver on that team and have a good running back, and so Andy Reid is a great coach, right? So they're always going to make the playoffs, and Mahomes is going to be, I think, sort of an all-time great. So they're always going to get in. I think it just proves how hard it is to win a Super Bowl, man, which makes the Brady thing even more impressive, right? Where you just go, remember when he won the first one and people were like, this kid's going to win 5 or 6 of them. And you're like, slow down, man. Let him get to 2. And who knows? He might open up the floodgates and then win one every other year, every third year or whatever. He could.
Unlikely.
I think teams are starting to figure out, I wouldn't say they figured him out because talent's talent, right? But they have figured out ways to sort of slow him down.
Yep.
What I was shocked by more than anything was like how that team. So the Bengals are young, and I keep waiting for them to look young, for them to make that mistake or have like that bad pick or that bad fumble where then they get down on themselves and it shows, right? Like the immaturity starts to show, because I feel like you need that loss to sort of prep you for like that win, right? Like maybe Mahomes needed that loss against Brady in OT to sort of go like, okay, I got to turn this up a notch to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
And I keep waiting for that moment to happen to the Bengals, and I'm like, well, shit, it's not happening. KC looked like that young team in that second half, man.
Yeah.
They looked like shocked, like they didn't know how to respond. And I'm going, that's how the Bengals should have looked, given on how that whole first half went. And they just didn't. Maybe they're just too young and stupid to understand the moment, right? Like, and that's good. And maybe that plays to their favor. It's like, like I'm thinking of like the Toronto team from a couple years ago in the NBA, where they won their one and they were fine. And granted, they had Kawhi, but you go, maybe the rest of that team was just so young that they just didn't realize the magnitude of the moment, and they played so loose, because this Bengals team, I keep waiting for that tightness. And Mahomes played tight that second half, man. Like, they got really conservative, which is not like him. Like, and everybody, I wouldn't even say just him, that whole team looked tight, man. Like, and the Bengals just looked like, oh, fuck it, we're already getting beat. Like, who cares? Like,
and I think the game before that, man, after the game before that, Joe Burrow was like, yo, man, I'm tired of us being called like the underdogs. Like, we're supposed to be here.
Supposed to be here. Dude, and, we talk about this shit all the time. Is that part of like the whole, like, you manifest and sort of you are what you put out? Maybe that energy and him having, again, that swagger where he walks into a locker room like that and you go, fuck, man, if this guy thinks like that, like, and that's the leader of our team.
Right.
Like, how do you...
Yeah, like if he believes if he believes I'm in.
Yeah, right, I'm in. Like this guy. And yeah, fuck, man. I feel like it's irresponsible to keep picking against them. like you have to pick the Rams, right? Like if I'm betting money,
God,
I have to pick the Rams.
They're playing at home, bro.
And they're playing a home game.
Do you know they can?
And a home game, yeah. And a home game that actually is a home game, because the Bucks got it last year, but they didn't really have it because of the whole COVID thing.
Yep.
It's a full stadium at SoFi now. So... And I don't know how well Cincinnati travels, but yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
If I'm betting money,
who you got?
Again, I feel irresponsible to pick against the Bengals, bro. It just feels irresponsible.
I'm going Rams.
Yeah, the other part of me just feels like the Stafford thing, he got it figured out. Sean McVay,
dude, I would love to see Stafford win one.
I do, man. Anybody who has to live in Detroit for a decade like that deserves something good.
I was there for about 2 days, and I was ready to be out.
I was too, bro, and I almost walked into traffic a few times.
You wake up, is this hell?
Yeah. Where I feel like, and I'm gonna be stupid for doing it. I feel like that front line for the Rams that Bengals O-line did a lot better this last week. But if that O-line that showed up against Tennessee shows up against the Rams, they're gonna get murked. It may not matter because we saw that it didn't matter for him already. Yeah. Again, it's just hard to pick against this Rams team. Is so stacked, man.
Yep.
And I feel like that young Bengals team still has to show up. And it has to be part of the sort of the growing pains of you got to lose one of these and it's got to hurt. And for you to take that next step as a team.
Yeah.
Because you can't, like, if they win it, can you imagine? If the Bengals win this Super Bowl, you go from 4-12 one year to the first full year Burrow starting to winning the Super Bowl with a revolving door as an offensive line. Like, you just go.
Yeah, like, there's nowhere to go but
there's nowhere to
down.
go. But yeah. Yeah, so I guess you have to go Rams. As it gets closer, I think I might feel more comfortable with my pick. I tell you what, I don't want to bet on it. Like, I normally like to try to bet shit on NFL games. I don't know. I'm staying away from this one, man.
Yeah, no, I'm not betting any money on that shit.
And shout out to Cincinnati, bro. They're shutting down schools that Monday after the Super Bowl. They already shut down schools. Yeah, they made it like a holiday. I said, that's fire, yo.
Win or lose.
Win or lose. They don't give a fuck. Like, this is about to be a party in Cincinnati on Sunday, bro. We cleaning up Monday. Ain't nobody going to work. Nobody going to school. So, yeah, they shut down schools, man. That's kind of fire.
Wow. Dude, when I was in the Marine Corps, man, we had the boss from our shop. He was a gunnery sergeant. He actually went to the CO, which is like our head guy, right? And got him to give us Super Bowl Monday off. Yeah, so we could watch the game. So we can go to we had on base. They called it the E Club. It was like the enlisted club, right?
Okay.
And so we would go there and watch the game and get shit faced and
I normally take off that Monday.
Yeah,
I have for the last few years. I can't this year, but every year I've normally taken off that Monday, just because I don't want to wake up and be like, hungover.
Yeah.
Or like if I'm out somewhere, I don't want to be like, oh, I gotta be home, whatever. Like, so I normally take off anyway. But they should make it a holiday here. I feel like it's big enough where it should be
in
a
the
holiday.
U.S. Yeah,
replace one of these fucking like President's Day. I don't give a fuck about that. Or like Columbus Day, or one of just shift one of those.
President's Day about anyway, man. It's
Nothing,
about
bro.
all the presidents.
Yeah,
like, for real.
I don't know, bro. Is it the
They
ones we care
wasn't
about?
all good.
Yeah. Like, why are we celebrating? I don't know, man. So who knows, bro? But
Just make it like a Trump Day.
My day's huge.
Could you imagine, bro?
It's the best day ever. It's huge. Dude, so before we get off of touchdowns, man. These kids, bro. There's these boys. You hear the story about these boys from in Texas? So it's a group of brothers, bro. It's 3 of them. Okay. They scoring touchdowns. They got a home run or whatever you want to call it, bro. These kids are going to jail because they beat their stepfather to death.
Their stepfather.
The reason I call it a touchdown or a home run is because they found out that their stepfather was sexually abusing their 9-year-old half sister. So it's not even their full sister. It's like
It's his daughter.
It's his daughter.
Oh,
and he was sexually abusing her. The 3 boys found out, and they handled business, bro. Like, listen, man. Shout out to these boys. Hit me up for bail money. I got y'all. Listen, that shit.
Common footprint go out to couple murderers.
Couple murderers this week. Justified. Bro, listen, man. Alejandro and Christian Trevino, and then Gabriel. No. Sorry. The brothers, Alejandro and Christian Trevino, found out. They became enraged and confronted Gabriel. That's what it was. So the guy's name is Gabriel Quintanilla. And, man, the brothers beat the shit out of the stepdad and beat him to death, bro. I feel like that's the only appropriate response for someone who's sexually abusing a 9-year-old girl. Save us the money and trouble of putting you through trial, of putting you in prison, of like all that shit. This poor girl is never gonna recover from that. Your dad, bro, not even like a stepdad,
right.
Not even like an uncle, like your actual dad. Like, it's already bad.
Right.
But you get sexually assaulted or molested or whatever the fuck by your dad, bro. I'm like, nah, bro, good for y'all. Like,
so if you're the lawyer for these guys, do you claim insanity?
That, or like as a crime of passion, or I feel like you have to be able to. There has to be a way to plead this out where they don't serve life in prison. Some of them are minors, so they have a shot of getting out. Dude, I wonder what jury. I'd have a tough time unless these kids were like really bad,
insanity, right? If you claim insanity, like what jury is going to convict you?
Yeah, and dude, what jury? Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, and I know this is why there's like jury selection processes, right? As a parent, I go up there and they go, Yellow Ball, these brothers killed their thing, and they go like, yo, what's their record? Like, no, these kids got a clean record or whatever. They've never been in trouble, whatever. They just came to their sister's defense. I'm gonna be like, I've heard enough, not guilty. Like, I'm just gonna be like, fuck, dude, man.
Oh my god.
Because this brings in like a weird thing, right? Like of like you take sort of justice, quote unquote, into your own hands in this scenario. Like, what if he didn't? What if she just said that, right? But I feel like if you knew this and you can prove it, or you knew very matter of factly that this had happened, like, fuck, man, I find it really hard to convict these kids, man, like of that, because where do you?
Yeah,
fuck,
dude,
man.
I don't know, man. If I'm on a jury,
you could have just reported it. Like, nah, fuck that. Like,
right?
I don't know, man.
Like, I mean,
I'm gonna tell you right now,
it's
bro.
not the right thing to do in the eyes of the law, but it's the right thing to do.
It is, bro. It is, dude. I'm gonna tell you right now. I have a 12-year-old daughter. If I found out this shit was happening to my 12-year, if I found out this shit was happening to my 30-year-old daughter, you better get to prison before I catch you, bro. That's like there's no, like, jail time is the least of my concerns, bro. Like, in that.
And
scenario.
if you're molesting a 9-year-old girl, like,
you're a piece of shit.
There's something wrong with you. That there's probably no set of or no amount of therapy that's gonna fix that.
Nah, bro.
Like,
nah.
you're
a piece of
doing
shit,
that forever.
Yeah, you should die. Like, why am I keeping you alive in prison and then putting you through trial and wasting taxpayer money for all this? No, bro. Fuck you. Like, I don't feel bad at all, bro. Like,
that's nuts, man. Let me hit you up. There's another story, man. You seen about this Georgia couple?
I heard the story, but I don't know all the details.
All right, so this Georgia couple, they were 55 and 56 years old. They were holding 8 people in their basement. And the way they were doing it, man, was they were sort of advertising themselves as a church. And they called themselves One Step of Faith Second Chance. So what they were doing was they were taking people with mental or physical disabilities, getting a hold of everything, their medical, their financials, their everything, and they kept them locked in this basement.
Oh, because then they can collect on their like disability money. Oh, bro. Motherfucker.
And they can either give them their meds or not give them their meds, or they literally had a padlock on the door to the basement. So the way that these guys found out was one of them had a seizure. And I'm not sure how the paramedics got called, but paramedics were called. When they got there, they tried to get into the basement. The door is padlocked. They had to climb into a window. And then so obviously called the authorities. Both the husband and the wife, were arrested. But I'm like, man, people are fucked.
People are fucked up, man. That's bro. Oh, dude. I'm telling you, man, people who abuse of the children, elderly, fucking the mentally, like, oh, man. That shit is fucked up, dude. Like, special place in hell, bro, for people like that. That's what you're like, them too, bro. Fuck them. They should have killed them. Like, bro, if that group of people murdered that couple in that house to escape,
that's justified.
Are you convicting them?
No,
bro. No fucking way, dude.
Yeah, no.
There's no way. That shit is crazy.
Dude, and who knows, besides being locked in the basement, I wonder what other kind of abuse they were subjected to.
Yeah, dude, I mean? Yeah, you figure we know the tip of the iceberg, man, these people, and then how you get away with that for however long is crazy to me, man. That's nuts, man. Shit with Minnie Mouse. No? You see what they're trying to do with Minnie?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Like Minnie, like
Minnie Mouse, like Mickey,
like
and
Mickey and Minnie?
Mickey's girl, bro. Minnie Mouse.
Say it ain't so.
Listen, bro. Listen, bro.
Whatever it is, say it ain't so.
The cancel cucks again at everything, bro. So Minnie traditionally, Mickey has an outfit that he wears traditionally in his like logo, and so does Minnie, the dress or whatever.
Yep.
Dude, so they changed her dress.
Who's they?
To appease whoever the fuck is in charge of drawing Minnie now. Disney, bro, is changed Minnie's look, her official look now. It's no longer that dress.
It's like isn't it like the polka dot dress?
Yes, right? Bro. Just look it up now because I can't even explain it. She's wearing like fucking like when you get to a certain age and you just wear tracksuits everywhere, like that's
52.
Yeah, like she no longer like I guess they're trying. It's this whole thing about femininity and the movement or whatever.
Oh, come on.
So see, it's a blue outfit. It's just put new Minnie look or some shit like that in Google. Like I'm sure it'll come up.
It did.
So it's like pajamas or some shit. That's what it looks like, bro. So she. Oh. You see it? All right. So she looks like she identifies as a girl, not that she is. It's fucking terrible, bro.
Oh wow!
Like how?
Like this, you could probably put a boy's head.
Yeah, and you wouldn't know any different.
Yeah.
Like, is that what we want, right? Like, do you not want to be able, like, as a woman? I would think that as a woman, you sort of want to embrace your femininity, the things that make you.
So it's officially a pantsuit.
Yeah, she looks like fucking Betty White. Like she's wearing, bro. It's literally like a velour tracksuit. I'm telling, like it's awful, bro.
Yeah, look,
she's dressed. Horrible. Yeah, if you guys get a chance, just Google new Minnie look, bro. I don't know, man.
Why?
She looks like every chick you knew from the hood. Wearing the apple bottom. Oh no, that's the baby fat velour outfit.
Did they say why?
Just there's a whole article about how they want to basically like make her with the times of what like it means to be a woman now and yada yada yada. And I'm like, all right, so looking like a woman now means you look sloppy. Like I don't know what the fuck they're going for now. Like I would think as a woman,
look sloppy,
dude. As a guy though, you want to embrace certain things that make you a guy, right? And whether that be looks or personality or whatever traits. I feel like as a woman, there's the same things, right? There's a femininity, there's beauty in that. There's like. Don't you think you would want? I would think most women would agree with like, nah, I want to be respected for my mind and all that stuff, but I also want to be looked at as beautiful and all that, not as like. I feel like you're just appeasing to ugly people here.
Like, we gotta get like a woman on the phone or something.
I would love to see the opinion on this because I think it's trash. Like I don't know, man. It's a fucking cartoon, so like who cares? But it's just another step in the direction of like, who are we trying to please here? Right. Like, who is it that we're like, oh, we want to make sure that everybody feels inclusive?
Who said that?
Like, the tracksuit cloud feels inclusive? Like, who do we want to feel like that? Like, I'm so lost, man. So confused in this. I was like, it's so strange, man. I don't know, man. But listen, man, they're canceling everything, bro. They try to cancel your boy Joe. Or our boy Joe.
Oh, I saw that, man. Mr. Joe Rogan, damn it. I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan, and not because of his views on anything. I think the guy puts out a really good podcast. I think the guy interviews some really interesting people and across the gamut, right? Like he doesn't really sway like one way or another. He'll interview people from different views, but recently it was at Spotify, right? So Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, and then Nils Lofgren, which I know Neil Young, Joni Mitchell sounds familiar, but bottom line is I don't really care about any of their music.
Don't nobody give a fuck about any of them, bro.
I don't, so they basically got together, and pulled their music off of Spotify.
And the sad part is they probably get more streams right now.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
because ain't nobody heard of them. They're like, who the fuck is Neil Young? And they're probably like looking them up on Spotify, like. Nobody knows who.
Apple took the opportunity to go like, hey, like we have Neil Young.
Really? Yeah, good for them because I bet you now people are like, oh, who's Neil Young? Or like, yeah, I remember that song he made, and then it went up. Like, so I mean, good for them for capitalizing.
What is the? You know what? I remember the name, and I should know better than you. What is his like? What's the famous song? What's the most famous song Neil Young has?
I can't even. I knew it earlier, but
I thought of a song and I was just like, I was like, no, wait a minute, that's Neil Diamond.
See, bro, you were probably thinking of Sweet Caroline.
Yep.
Nah, because I thought the same thing, but no, it is a big song. It's not as big as I would say Sweet Caroline. Oh, maybe it is. I guess. Fuck, man.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah. It'll be obvious. We'll be like, oh yeah, but
bro, a bunch of songs actually came up. Helpless.
No.
Powderfinger.
No, there's one.
Let me go on to number one. Hold on. Old Man.
Nah.
See, The Needle and the Damage Done. Heart of Gold. Like a Hurricane. Harvest Moon.
No.
Ohio.
Nope.
After the Gold Rush.
Yeah. See, what the fuck about
Cortez the Killer, Powderfinger, and Helpless. Like that. I don't.
Yeah,
that's
none of those sound familiar.
Supposedly top 10. That's like beyond my years, right? So I don't know, man. But
Yeah, go ahead and
but with this one, right? So like they're doing it because they're saying that Joe Rogan is spreading misinformation about COVID, and as a listener of Joe Rogan, and I'm not a religious listener. Like I listen to, I see who he's interviewing, and if I think that they're interesting, I'll listen to it. Like I'm a fan of Snoop Dogg, right? So when he interviews Snoop, then I listen. I'm a fan of Jewel. When he interviewed Jewel, I listen. I don't listen to everything, but the guy's pretty objective, man. And he'll say like he only says sort of like what he's heard from sort of like other experts. Matter of fact, the two shows that caused the most controversy was the one he did with Peter McCullough and Robert Malone.
But yeah.
Right, so and both of them doctors. Peter McCullough was like, he's a cardiologist, and he's like the most published cardiologist ever.
Yeah. He's not
like in history.
Yeah. Joe Rogan didn't get his information from Facebook.
right. It wasn't something that he just looked up on the internet. And then the Robert Malone guy owns like 9 patents on the mRNA technology. Right, so he didn't get this. He don't get his stuff from like Joe Blow on the street. I did like when he came out after this whole controversy, right? He came out and he posted a thing, I think it was on Instagram, and basically said, oh, you know what? Like, I always try to bring different people on there. He goes, I'm all for like a disclaimer before my shows. Yep. That says like, hey, like, I'm a moron.
These are opinions or whatever.
I'm a moron. Like, don't listen to me. I'm just kind of, hey, it's not the opinion of Spotify. And then he also said, he goes, hey, you know what? Maybe in the future, if I bring on somebody who has this one opinion, maybe the next show, I just bring on somebody who has the total opposite opinion, just to kind of get both sides. But I just like that because he goes, man, like, I'm not this beacon of information for everything. Like, I'm just giving you. Like I'll tell you, matter of fact, when he took the whole ivermectin shit, that was one of like a suite of fucking things that he took for COVID, and
it's the one they remembered,
and it was the one thing they remembered. I mean, the guy took prednisone too, which is a fucking steroid. So he took prednisone, he took his fucking Z-Pack, right? Which everybody takes Z-Packs, and he took a slew of things, and then the media grabbed onto the ivermectin and made a big deal about it. And it's just like, come on, man.
Dude, and you can tell it's not listeners, like the people who are sort of trying to cancel him, quote unquote, or are complaining. Because when you listen to Joe Rogan, and if you're objective, he never goes in there with like I know this. It's why he brings on experts. Right. He might say something like, well, I heard from that it's blah, 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 blah. And this guy might go, well, actually, here's like sort of the counter to that. Like, that's not entirely wrong, but, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is what I love about listening to a show. It's like, it's funny, man. The ones that get sucked into the rabbit hole are people I've never heard of before, but they're experts in some random shit like that. And again, he's a fucking comedian, bro. Like, he's not CNN. Like, it's funny, man. Our standard is higher for a comedian who does a podcast than it is for Fox News or CNN or any of that shit, who all spread, I wouldn't even say misinformation. They spread their opinion. Right? It's not even news. It's an opinion that they give out. And Joe went out there and just said, like, I was wrong. He even said, he goes like, I might have been wrong on this one. Like, so-and-so came on. They said this, and that. Like, Google. Like, isn't the dialogue is what's supposed to happen? Isn't like him bringing on people who do have different opinions and they have that conversation? He goes, well, but I thought blah, 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 blah. And they give, isn't that what we want? Like, isn't the open dialogue sort of like, that's the healthy part of it? And like, so part of me can't help but to feel like these people want him sort of gone because he's bigger than they are. Right? Like Joe Rogan.
And he's not helping them spread their narrative.
No, right? Like, he doesn't lean towards the left. He doesn't lean towards the right. It just depends on the week, right? Like, this week, the left is fucking livid. Next week, the right will be livid because they'll have, like, Bernie Sanders on. And then the week after that, like, the left will be livid again. Like, it'll just go back and forth. Like,
and he's had Bernie Sanders on, by the way.
Yeah, and he openly said he was going to vote for Bernie Sanders. Yeah. Like,
I'm pretty sure he said he didn't vote for Trump.
Yeah.
I think he voted for something like Green Party. Yeah. Or he just kind of went the other way.
It's so fucking crazy, man. Our standard for like Joe Rogan. And I think it has a lot to do with like when you're at the top, man, everyone's coming for your neck, right? Like, so a lot of this has to do with his popularity now. He just happens to be the guy that if you have news about him, it's the clickbait. If you're CNN, you need views and you need ratings because no one's watching fucking CNN anymore or Fox News or any of that stuff because Trump's gone and unfortunately or fortunately, he was the ratings for them. So where else do you go? Like fucking Joe Rogan's talking shit. Like, do you mention that name because it gets clicks? Like,
oh yeah, true.
I
think about that,
dude. When was the last time you watched political news?
Don't know.
I don't, man. And I feel like and I'll get to this other story that I sort of had here in a minute. I'm so sort of over, and I don't know if this is like a product of getting older, and maybe not because I know people way older than me who are way too into politics. I find myself sort of understanding that all these politicians or all politics it's just pandering. And then I don't take any of it serious anymore. Like, all of it is just a circus. It's just all a show. It's all like, where do you sort of deflect attention so that I can push sort of my narrative? And so this Joe Rogan thing isn't any different. To me, it's just like a bunch of people because they're so hypocritical on their narrative. Like, Fox News will have a guy on one week who will be like super anti-vax, and then he dies 3 days later from COVID, and they won't even fucking mention it, right? And then you'll have like Maddow, who's on fucking CNN, who is like, telling you like the vaccine will prevent COVID, yada yada yada, and now everyone's getting fucking COVID, even if they're vaccinated, and she's not going like, oh fuck, I was wrong. Like, she's just moving on like nothing. Like nothing. Yeah, like we don't have the same.
Get the booster.
Get this one. No, get the one after that. Like we don't. Like it's funny, man. The sort of the barometer for Joe Rogan appears to be higher than everybody else's, and it's simply because he gets, dude, I forget what the number was, but it's like,
it's stupid, bro.
His average podcast gets like 10 times more views than CNN's highest rated show.
Good for him, bro.
Yeah, man, fucking
good for him, bro.
And I think this is a product of him being on top. And it's like, you who do you go for? Like, if you want to get to the top of or you want to run the kingdom, you got to come for the king, right? And right now, Joe Rogan's the king, right? So,
and the deal is, like, I feel like he, I said earlier, the guest that he interviews really runs the gamut. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're talking about, whether it's pop culture figures, political figures, sports, people in sports, people in entertainment, whatever. And he interviews everybody, man. And I don't think that, I've listened to him enough to where he's very open to different opinions.
Yeah.
And he's the first one to go like, yo, I'm a moron. Like, don't listen to me. But, here's what I've heard from these experts.
He'll tell you, I'm a fucking comedian, bro, who talks for hours on a thing, and I say crazy shit, and I don't know everything.
Yeah,
I have
and he's like us, and he'll have a drink.
He's drinking, he's smoking.
He'll fucking smoke, right? Like, I mean, like, come on, people. Like, relax.
Also, you got to look at it as entertainment. You also have to look at it like, I feel like they do a disservice to the amount of education that you can get from listening to Joe Rogan, because I'd rather listen to a random guest on Joe Rogan than any episode of any show on CNN or NBC or Fox or whatever, because like he'll have random guys I've never heard of talking about a topic that maybe I thought I knew something about, and I'm like, holy shit, I didn't know that. Like,
yep.
And it'll either take me down a rabbit hole, it might even completely change my opinion, or it'll just give me more information where I go, man, I thought I knew this, but this expert says, this and that stuff. Like, maybe I need to reconsider. Like, like you said, he has so, like, the gamut just runs from left to right, like, of everything. And I don't mean that politically. I just mean, like, in a spectrum. Like, he just touches on everything, man. And, like, it was just such nonsense. And, like, I feel like someone like Neil Young, it's like, go back to wherever the fuck you were hanging out in the last, whatever cave you've been in. Like, so part of me has to think that you have to be doing this for the sort of to get your name back out there. Right, like right now, I feel like Joe Rogan's the name where you just go, man, fuck this guy, and suddenly people are like, who are you? And maybe they're clicking all your shit, right. Because unfortunately, we are like that, where we go, even if we hate you, we're like, this dumbass, and then we'll just start clicking your profile and opening your websites and doing
look at us
stuff.
Right here, right? I just looked up Neil Young.
Exactly, man. And then you know what that says? That search shows up on Apple or on Spotify, like, oh, somebody searched, like, so like I get it, but it's hilarious to me, man, that like I feel like we're going to get to the point, though, where someone like him calls it quits maybe earlier than they should, because they're like, Joe Rogan's made enough money at this point where he's just like, I don't even have to do this anymore, man. Like, I'm a moron. Yeah. This is fun, but you guys coming after me is no longer makes it fun. Or he might be good enough, though. I feel like he's one of those guys good enough at sort of ignoring shit that maybe he's just like, yeah, fuck, I'm just going to keep doing what I do, because you can't fire him. He's unfireable, dude. If like the move
if
now,
Spotify lets him go,
he's going to make more money.
Yeah.
Because now he becomes I think he's already surpassed Howard Stern in terms of today, right? Like he's our Howard Stern, right? Like of this generation.
Hey,
listen,
out, man.
I'm trying to tell you, man, the king of all media is gonna have to change his name to the king of some media, because Joe Rogan might be. I mean, Joe Rogan is right. Like Howard Stern had his run, his era.
Oh yeah.
I would think Joe Rogan is the everybody wants to go do the interview with him. Like everybody wants to go do because one thing I loved about Howard Stern was he got an hour or two of unfiltered, uncensored, sit down conversation. Now I get that with Joe, commercial free, and he has no time limit. None. He's not, and it's not like, oh, you got to be live 10 to 12, or I got to listen to it later on, or whatever. Fuck, it's like, here, listen to it whenever you want to. So he's become this just such a big name now, I think, in this whole media game, that if he leaves Spotify, I think it just raises his value. Or if they kick him out, if they kick him out, he go back to YouTube and he goes I'm just gonna command more for an ad. Or does Apple go we'll take you, bro? How much were they giving you? We'll double that.
Hey Neil, we don't need your shit anymore.
Fuck your shit. Don't nobody listen to you anymore. And
I want to say, man, the last guy did this Nils Lofgren has been encouraging other artists to yank their shit off of Spotify. I'm just wondering, at what point or how many artists have to leave, or which is the really big artist that can actually make an impact?
I feel like it's all fluff. You know why? Because artists don't make a lot of money off streaming platforms anyway. So it's a very small gesture in the grand scheme of things. So you gotta get a ton. Yeah, it'd be different if you said
and relevant.
Yeah, you have to get there's a reason Taylor Swift wouldn't let her music on streaming platforms for a long time. Because she's it's not worth the fucking money. They don't pay anything. So for someone like Neil Young, who the fuck is streaming Neil Young? So he can't be making a lot of money. Maybe for him, if he's not touring anymore, it's something. But I feel like it's it was the equivalent of the U.S. going we're boycotting the Chinese Winter Olympics, and by that they meant we're just not sending delegates. It's who the fuck cares if you send delegates or not? That's an outward sort of gesture where people are oh my God, he's boycotting it. But does it really hurt you? It doesn't hurt your pocket. Is Spotify really going, we better get that Neil Young back? We were really making money off of this guy. I think he really cares. Even if Beyonce said, I'm pulling my shit off Spotify, I don't know, does Spotify give a fuck?
See, it would have to be somebody of that magnitude.
It would have to be numerous somebodies of that magnitude. And then even then, I don't think they let him go. I think they just go, we'll just put a disclaimer up there and just Spotify has invested so much money in Joe Rogan.
They'll appease the masses by doing
their own employees. Remember, their own employees were walking out, and they were "Fuck y'all!" Their own employees were walking out about the whole transgender thing, and they were "Yeah, that kind of sucks for you guys. Don't come back tomorrow if you walk out." I don't know, man. I can replace 50 people in accounting and marketing and IT and programmers and yada, yada, yada. I can't replace Joe Rogan.
Yeah, you can't.
I can't. Listen, there's a million of y'all. There's one Joe Rogan. Like it or not,
yep,
he's the guy right now, right? So there's a reason why Sirius basically gives whatever Howard Stern wants, he gets, because there's only one Howard Stern, and that platform lives and dies with Howard Stern. Yeah, man, this shit was so dumb, dude. I was and I especially find it stupid because he goes on and goes, yeah, I was wrong. So what are you canceling? They're he's spreading misinformation. Is it misinformation if you have a conversation of conflicting opinions and then you go, well, shit, I was wrong? Then whose job is it then to check it? Is it Spotify's job to go, oh, that was the right thing? Because all this is opinion based anyway, right? So because COVID is very fluid, as we've seen, right? So if he goes, this shit doesn't work, and then it turns out that 6 months later it really didn't work, but at the time some experts said it did. What are you vetting that against? Are you vetting that against the information of the time of an expert? And then if so, what expert? And then who designated that? It's such a slippery slope, man.
Isn't science just that?
It's fucking practice, dude. There's a reason doctors' offices are called practices.
Yeah, no, right.
Yeah,
science is just that, right? You have you get information and you make a decision based on the information, but you're open to new information.
Yeah, all the time. So they're all called theories, right? They're not called definitives. You know what I mean? A doctor's office isn't called a definitive. It's called a practice, because they're yo, we're trying shit.
Yeah.
We're trying shit based on the best available information we have at this time. Yep.
Remember,
it's
people,
nonsense, man.
We used to treat mental illnesses with electric shocks.
Yeah, and now, so exactly. Relax. And then we used to take cocaine and fucking whiskey and all kinds of shit to kill.
Don't we still do that?
Oh yeah. Used to. Wink, wink.
How we doing on time,
bro? We're hour 9 in, bro. Fuck, man. Do you want to get into this? I feel like this may take us down a rabbit hole. Maybe not. Oh, fuck it. You seen this Florida Individual Freedom Act? Because it sort of goes with what we were talking about now.
No.
So in Florida, there's a bill. It's on SB 148, the Individual Freedom Act. It's a Republican senator named Manny Diaz Jr. He's the sponsor of it. It does have the governor's backing. So Ron DeSantis is backing his bill. But the bill basically makes it illegal to make someone feel bad about the past as it relates to race. So,
hold on.
It would prohibit. So let me clarify that.
Run that by me one more time.
So this bill would prohibit public schools and private businesses from making white people feel discomfort, and it's not really white people; it's just people feel discomfort when they teach students or train employees about discrimination in the nation's past. Which we know that means white people. So they're basically trying to say that you're not allowed to make people today feel shitty about the past based on race or discrimination. And the discrimination could be based on race, religion, sex, yada, yada, yada. But you're not allowed to make me feel uncomfortable. So if I'm a white person and you're teaching me about like slavery, then if I feel shitty about that, and this is where this is super ambiguous, if you make me feel bad because now I feel bad as a white person, then you have now broken the law.
I think I did read something about this shit, man. So it's funny, man. So, and I've talked about this before on this show. One of my kids is homeschooling. And so I'm like responsible for helping him out with history. And he's doing U.S. history. And man, the shit that I'm sort of relearning that I just forgot, but now looking at it with different eyes as an adult and sort of being in the world for 47 years, right? It's crazy, man. The whole like the issue of slavery and how the country was sort of like divided, and you know, like they actually was trying to keep equal amount of states that had slavery that didn't, because it was a political move.
Yeah. Everything is.
Yeah.
Everything is.
And it's so going back to this. So is this sort of to fight against like the critical race theory?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's exactly a way to fight against that.
Make it illegal because it's making me feel bad about my ancestors.
Shitty. Yeah, it's making me feel shitty. Like, why do I feel guilty now as a white person? I'm just gonna say it doesn't say white, but it's fucking white. So why do I feel guilty now as a white person for someone that maybe one of my ancestors, or not ancestors, but another white person did, a long time ago? I just think that first of all, I don't take this bill serious, and here's why. We tend
to passed.
It's passed a part of the House already, yeah. So it's not. I think it needs one more round to go through. But if DeSantis backs it, it's gonna be. I don't think it'll pass, and I'll tell you why. I think there'll be enough sort of when it gets to the main house, which I think is what it needs to pass, like the Florida legislature, you're gonna have enough Democrats or whatever in there to sort of shoot them.
I'm stupid on that.
Yeah, I'm dumb when it comes to that too. So I don't know what the steps are on that. I don't think it'll pass because I don't really think this is real. I don't think he wants it to. I think this is pandering to your base. I think this goes back to what we were talking about with Joe Rogan. I think this is Ron DeSantis and this Republican senator just like gonna do this. His base, like we've met enough people who lean left or who lean right who just go, I'm gonna vote for that guy because he wanted to do this, whatever that is. Like I feel like it's just that. Like politics is just a game now where I feel like these guys are just playing characters. Like on both sides of the aisle. They're just playing characters and they're like, how do I get the most votes? How do I continue to raise money? Because politics is really about how much money can you raise, and really the more money you raise, the you'll get reelected. Like there's no it's a popularity contest and then a who can raise the most funds contest. And usually that goes hand in hand, right? If you're popular, you're going to be able to raise the most amount of money. It's not who's better qualified for the job.
Right.
It's that. So to me, I look at these things now and I think 5 years ago, I would have been bent out of shape, and now I just go, yeah, it's just more political games. Because if you pass this or you don't pass this, we have shown a history of watering down history anyway. And so if you don't do it through this,
we do it to make the U.S. look better.
Yeah,
right. To our own people.
Yep. And we're going to do it anyway, right? So if you don't do it with this, you're going to find some version of, like, you know, when you learn about Christopher Columbus, like, it's going to, you're going to give a version of it and not the full thing. Like, you've watered it down.
That was a hero.
Over time, you're just going to keep doing that to every single thing, right? Like, you're just going to keep watering down history, right? Like, you tell us about Washington, but you don't tell us about the slaves he owned. You tell us about Jefferson, but you don't tell us about the slaves he owned. Like, I think you're going to get to this point anyway. So to me, whether you propose this law or not, this law is just a sort of a big, like, I don't know. I look at this the same way I look at the Trump rallies, where he's just trying to ratchet up his base, and he would go up there and yell some shit like, you know, fuck Hillary, build a wall, like shit that he probably didn't really give a fuck about. But like, he's like trying to pander to his base. Like, I know he actually tried to build a wall, but. And a lot of shit that these guys say. Yeah, like, you know, you look at Kamala and Joe, no student loans and we're gonna get rid of that shit. They didn't get rid of that shit, bro.
Pay that shit back.
Yeah, they're pandering to their base.
You know, we $30 trillion in debt.
Yeah, and so all this shit now to me just becomes how do I keep my base engaged and just voting for me for another cycle. And I feel like that's what this is, man. Like, this is just him pandering to his base. If it passes or it doesn't pass, we're going to get to this stage anyway where we're going to water down history. And it's shitty. It sucks. Like, you know, we celebrate, you know, going back to the Columbus thing, I go like, you know, we've talked about this on here before. That's a conflict, right? Because without Columbus, you don't have a lot of us, right? But also, it's like, how do you give this guy a national holiday to discover something that was already there?
Right.
And you didn't even
already discovered.
And the funny thing is the people who colonized this country and built it weren't even sent on behalf of Columbus. Like, Columbus wasn't even on their behalf. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's such a weird, like, when I think about that shit all the time. Like, I understood if like the King of England sent them down and then you were celebrating the guy who found this for the King of England, but it wasn't. Like, so it doesn't even make sense of why we go like, oh, he discovered America. Well, he didn't. He discovered America for a certain group of people, maybe. Right. But this shit was here. Like, if you want to say
there was people living here,
and there was people living here. If you want to say, like, if you want to celebrate like the English monarchy because they discovered America and then colonized it and turned it into what it is to today, that's a better argument.
Yep.
I would say, like, yeah, y'all came here and fucking murdered everybody and then took over. Like, cool. Like, celebrate that shit. Like, I get it.
But to your point, man, we can't celebrate them because they're the ones that we fought to actually make the country our own.
A revolution.
Yeah.
But we're like, nah, let's celebrate the dude.
The other guy. Well, we celebrate the other guy.
Yeah, we celebrate the other guy.
We didn't fight him.
He came and he dipped out and he just basically told Europe, like, yo, there's some other shit over there if y'all want in. Right. Like, it's just weird. But anyway, so like, I feel like we sort of pick and choose history anyway, and I figure every country does this. We're not unique in this, but like, I saw this story and I'm like, wow, it's not getting a lot of play. And then I thought, you know what? I think even like all news outlets now are kind of just like, they pick the ones that sort of help sell their sort of narrative and pander to their base. And I think enough people, like on this one, I'm like, is it really going to pass? Yeah. If it passes, are we going to get there anyway? Like, I just feel like it doesn't matter one way or another.
Yeah,
like, I hope I'm wrong, but
man, it's funny, man, because I just put myself in sort of like a white person's shoes of today. Right, that is not racist, right, and even let's even say if you had a history of coming from folks that did own slaves way back when, like, that's not who you are today.
No,
it's almost just like I acknowledge like that happened, but that's not me, and I'm not racist, so. Can we move? Can we move on?
Not can we move forward? Like, can we learn this history without us sort of taking it personal?
Taking it personal.
Dude, and then where do you draw this line? Like everything else, I go, so can I as a male go, yeah, I don't appreciate you guys telling stories about Columbus because he raped and pillaged, and as a male, it makes me feel shitty that you're telling this story about it. Like, not all males are like that, and certainly the males today, we're not raping and pillaging villages and stuff like that, so I don't appreciate you guys. You know, like, if you want to take this discomfort thing up a notch,
you can just keep going.
I can just keep going. So, like, this shit is always so, like, again, this is why I don't take it serious, because it goes like, yo, we can keep going on this forever. Like the Joe Rogan thing, I go, how many layers of that? I can go back to Rachel Maddow. I can go back to Sean Hannity. I can go back to all these guys and go, all right, man, you want to open up this can of worms? Like, all right, let's do this. Like, and we'd never stop. Like, so you have to just take a lot of this shit for what it is. It's like to me, it's entertainment now. At this point, like politics to me, like they're not here to serve us. It's entertainment. It keeps a lot of us engaged enough because unfortunately we're in this like era of identity politics, and so whatever you identify with, whether that's a race or religion or sex or sexual orientation or whatever, like you sort of then identify your political ideologies to that, and this is a space that we're in where everyone's pandering to these different like ideologies and stuff. Like I don't take it serious anymore. Now I'm just like, yeah, okay, cool, whatever. That's like the thing taking the news this week for votes. Like, all right, like I don't give a fuck.
Well, damn it, since you brought that up, man, we can't stop there, bro. You see, speaking of race, man, the Brian Flores.
I did, man.
Brian Flores, was it today? Filed a lawsuit. So Brian Flores, for those of you who don't know, coach for the Miami Dolphins for the past 2 years. Really good coach, actually.
Great coach.
More than the winning record for the last 2 years, and was fired recently. But he's suing the NFL for like racial discrimination.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that his overall thing is, I think there's one of the there. I think his overall thing is like, I'm just trying to get more opportunity for people of color to be in coaching and GM spots and what have you. But man, he went through some stuff, and I wrote some stuff down here. He was like, he said that when he was playing when he first got hired by Miami, the coach told him, "Yo, lose for every game that you lose because we're trying to get the top draft pick. For every game you lose $100K. I'll give you $100K." Now, Miami Dolphins organization is denying this, so this is not substantiated, right? This is just his story against or his word against theirs.
I mean, you could follow that with paper trail, right?
But he didn't. So, but he refused to do it. And then he told another story about like during an off season where the GM was like, "Hey, like there's gonna be this quarterback," and kind of invite him on like a yacht, and then they're gonna go somewhere, and he's like, "Oh, at this place where we're gonna stop, there's gonna be a quarterback. I want you to talk to him." And Brian Flores is like, "Nah, bro, like I'm out. I'm not into tampering and whatever." So fast forward, the guy gets and actually there was a story that came out to that basically said that quarterback was supposed to be Tom Brady that was at the port, but he never met him. So don't know if that's true or not, but that was another story. But there was another one where, fast forward, he gets fired. The Giants are going to interview him. The Giants interviewed Brian Dabble, and then he's scheduled to go afterwards. And
Belichick. I saw.
You saw that? You see that shit?
Yeah. So, Belichick sends him a text. Go, "Hey, I heard you're their guy," but Belichick fucked it up and got the wrong Brian. Because the other guy's name is Brian Dabble. Yeah.
Right. And then, so he has that text and he's using it as evidence.
And so he basically showed up like as a we got to interview this guy, but we already picked. Dude. Which happens in every job.
Thank you. So I get his beef.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, bro, I've seen that in, obviously this is on much smaller scales, but in corporate environments, bro, I've seen this happen all the time. Like, we know who we want to hire.
Yeah, I'm gonna hire this person, but I have to interview X amount of people, and so I'm gonna do that. Yeah.
Right. You go through the motions. Matter of fact, man, I myself, and I'm in the minority, right? And I got a job that way where I had interviewed somewhere. I didn't get the job initially because they had opened up the spot for somebody else, but then I impressed through my interview, and they basically was like, "Hey, can we just keep your resume on file? Like, if we have another spot, like we want you here."
But they brought you in initially as just a filler.
Yes. Yeah. And then I ended up getting another job, a lesser job later on, but still it was my stepping stone from so I was happy to get in there. But man, I see this shit all the time. And then as far as, his stories about what the GM wanted to do, hey, lose the game so we get this and they'll give you $100K per. Dude, somebody would call that a hookup.
Yeah, I think it's so, man, it's interesting because I think, so a lot of, so some of the points you talked about there, I think because he's black, or I think he's Latino, right? He's black and Latino. He's half and half.
I don't. Oh, Flores, right? Yeah.
I think he's Latino and black, if I'm not mistaken. But because he's a minority, right? He's going, how many white coaches would go, oh yeah, I'll go meet that quarterback and meet Tom Brady at the port and do the illegal thing and do the tampering, right? But because you're a minority and you're black, you're like, nah, I'm going to stay away from that one because these jobs are far and few in between. I recognize that I'm a minority doing this.
Right.
And so I'm not trying to fuck this up from something like that. I'll go do it the sort of legal way where no one else is because everyone else is white in the league.
But if your boss, right, the guy that you report to or girl is telling you, go do this.
But the problem is that the sanctions come down from the NFL, not your boss, right? They come down from the sort of the governing body, and then now you have to trust that, yo, they're gonna have my back. They're not gonna go publicly and be like, yeah, we told Brian to go there. He's gonna be the scapegoat. They're gonna be like, I don't know, Brian's acting off on his own. So I think as a minority, you sort of learn like, nah, Brian ain't fucking with that because like you could get away with that. Brian Smith or whatever the fuck a white boy name is, but I can't get away with that shit. Like
I was gonna say his name is Brian.
Yeah, he's bad name Caleb. Tom. Yeah, Caleb. You fucking get away with that, but I can't. So like in some ways, like I get why he wouldn't have done those things. Where I will say that I don't know, he has a kid. They're gonna settle with him anyway. They're gonna settle. They're gonna pay him off. They'll make him go away.
But he'll go away forever.
Yeah, he'll never get a job again in the NFL. Hopefully the payday's worth it.
And that's my point, man. So I see what you're saying where you go like, I need to do things correctly because of who I am, right?
Yeah.
But I think the NFL has proven itself to be like almost like a good old boy club.
For sure.
And so because those jobs are few and far in between, if you don't conform to what these owners / GMs, want from you, they just get rid of you.
Just get rid of you. And they're all white.
Just get somebody else.
Yep.
And so if you want that job, and I get him. I mean, he's sort of taking the high road here.
Yeah.
But he's pretty much, and I hope for his sake that he's able to invoke some change, but also get paid enough so that when he goes away, that he's
does he go to college and then just get paid? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I'll tell you one thing, man.
But maybe not.
When the Dolphins fired him, I was like, you guys are stupid. The problem with your team is not this guy, and I thought he was going to be unemployed for a day. I honestly thought he'd get hired ASAP. Like, honestly, I thought the Giants or even I thought the Bears should have immediately picked this guy up.
Oh my God, bro.
Unless you can get Harbaugh, you immediately pick this guy up because I think other than Jim Harbaugh, you have to hire this guy.
But dude, if and again, being like the good old boy club, right? If the owners are talking, and the owners go, "Yo, don't hire this dude."
Yeah, they're not gonna.
Here's what transpired when we tried to get him to do certain things, and he wouldn't.
He's
budge.
not willing to play the game,
right? And they actually said that he's sort of difficult to work with, right? Like quote unquote, he was difficult to work with. And so you put that out there, it's the kind of like the Colin Kaepernick shit, right? It's just like, no, he's a troublemaker. And so the guy could be a good quarterback.
He doesn't play along with the thing.
Don't play around
and I
with
think
the rules,
he doesn't
bro.
play along with the thing because, again, as a minority, you go, nah, bro, the rules are different for me, dude. Like, if the tampering thing has fines or jail time or whatever the fuck, like, I ain't about that life, bro, because they'll come after me. Like, you get away with it,
right?
But they're going to come after me. And so it's unfortunate because they're going to have to come across a minority who's going to be willing to play the game to stay there. Like, is Mike Tomlin that guy? Has Mike Tomlin been willing to sort of stay the course? Or is the ownership in Pittsburgh just that good that they just stay out of it and let him do his thing and do it by the book and do whatever? Like, because he's been the only one that's sort of stuck. I was having this conversation with my brother this weekend too, man. It's funny. Like, speaking of the black, because it's weird that the NFL doesn't have more black coaches, considering that it's a black-dominated sport, right? And we were talking about Eric Bieniemy from Kansas City, whose name comes up all the time, right? And he's the offensive coordinator for Kansas City. And they're like, how does this guy not have a head coaching job? Now, someone like that, my argument would be, and this is just from years of sort of like of corporate experience, and I'm going to look at the NFL as a business right now, right? Because it is a business. If enough people are saying this guy, like if the media is going, hey, this guy's good, he's the next guy, right? So for Bieniemy, it almost makes it seem like, okay, are you only doing that because obviously that team is good and he is black, and so you do want some diversity, and so he's the one you sort of name pick because of that. But we aren't all smarter than the GMs in the NFL who have probably interviewed this guy, and he's probably interviewed terribly. Because if the like that was the big story for a long time. 32 people aren't stupid, right? So 32 people interview this guy or whatever, maybe he gets 5 or 6 a year, and they go, yeah, no,
not the guy, yeah,
yeah, like it's okay. He's probably a really good number 2, and it has nothing to do with race.
That's okay.
That's okay. He's just a really good number 2. Not everyone's a number 1, right? Like you need Robins, right? Like you can't all be Batman,
bro. There's really good number 12.
Yeah. So like I look at a guy like him and I go, no, if he was good enough, he would already be a head coach. Like if you're under Andy Reid and you have that offense and you've been running that offense for 3 or 4 years, it has nothing to do with race. It has a lot to do with how you're interviewing. Now, some people could be shitty interviews, and then maybe once they have the job, they're really good at it. We just won't know because they're shitty interviewers. Like, okay, fine. He's just never going to get that opportunity because maybe he's a shitty interview. But I feel like when someone who's that, like, quote unquote obvious, that everyone keeps going, how are you not interviewing this guy? I go, okay, you're not all smarter than every GM in the league. So they've done their homework, and either this guy's just not good enough because he hasn't even gotten as many interviews. So it's not that people are going, no, don't interview him, he's black. There has to be chatter. Like you said, all these guys talk, and they got to go,
and they go like,
yo, he's a number 2.
I interviewed him. Yeah, he's not that guy.
He's a great offensive coordinator. There's nothing wrong with that, dude. You can make 7 figures a year being a great offensive coordinator, no matter what race you are. Flores, on the other hand, I would go, that guy is an NFL head coach.
That's a leader, bro.
That's a leader, dude. That guy took a team that had no business being competitive, and were very competitive. And I would say you give him a quarterback, and that guy is probably making a deep playoff run. Like, you give him a better quarterback, like that, anybody other than Tua, man. You give him Jimmy G, and he's probably in the AFC title game. Like, it's just like, dude, you give that guy Joe Burrow, and he's he's in the Super Bowl. Like, I just think that he's the one who you could go, no, that was a stupid firing. Maybe you just didn't get along, like you said. Maybe that they're so corrupt, and if he wouldn't go along with their shit, that he was. And I feel like maybe that should have been the lawsuit. Like, hey, I got fired. I was unlawfully fired because I wouldn't go along with the bullshit. And maybe you sort of keep the receipts on that. It's gonna be harder to prove race.
Yep.
In that scenario, and like you said, it's gonna be easier to go, yo, man, he just doesn't play along, and for other teams to go like, yeah, fuck that, like I need.
And dude, not for nothing, man. In regular jobs, and we've seen this, right? Where you can bring in somebody, and if they don't mesh well with the team, or they don't mesh well with you as the boss, right? It's like it's easy to get rid of them, and they may be great talents.
Yeah.
But they just don't fit within the organization. And unfortunately for the NFL, it's a very small organization.
Dude, I've told people that on interviews where maybe they started getting a little overzealous or braggadocious about their degrees. And I've told people flat out, or degrees or experience or whatever, like, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I look for culture fit first, or like personality and all that stuff. Like, I feel like I could teach you, or I have people that can teach you to do almost anything if you're willing to learn.
Right.
I could care less where you went. If you're an asshole, I'm not bringing you in. Or if you're someone that I feel like the people can't get along with, just not bringing you in. And maybe this is one of those scenarios where they're like, man, you are really good, but we need you to play the game. Like, and unfortunately for him, he's in a position where he's like, and not to go back to politics, but he's almost like the Barack, right? Like, Barack was the first black president, and his job was almost to make sure he wasn't the last. He had to be so perfect in that sense where you had to go like, fuck. And not that Brian Flores isn't the first black coach, but you're just not one of a long line.
Right. You're one of the first. You're still considered one of the first.
Yeah. You're one of a handful of them. And so you're still going like, all right, I got to make sure that I tiptoe across this because, dude, if he gets caught, and they use him as a scapegoat, black or white, the narrative still becomes like a, and you know how people get, they be like, yeah, man, fucking Latino dude or the black dude, like, of course he would like be doing illegal shit under the table or whatever. Like, unfortunately, that would be part of the narrative if he got caught doing some shady shit.
But perhaps it's a narrative within the media, but is it the narrative within the network that is the NFL? And then
no, but it makes it easier for the NFL not to hire you. They can go like, oh, we want to keep our hands clean. Whereas, like, they would hire the white guy that did that.
Yeah, but the NFL's not really hiring you, right? It's the owners, bro.
But that's what I mean. Like, the owners collectively could go, if you get caught, they can collectively just be like, yeah, don't hire that guy. Like, yeah, he played along, but if they really didn't want to hire you because of race, then now they have a good excuse, right? So you're like in this damned if you do, damned if you don't position, man.
Dude, I saw this thing on Twitter. And, Twitter's a good place to go for comedy.
The best.
So it goes, Roger Goodell has to act immediately on the Brian Flores allegations by making the, quote, end racism, quote, font at least 3 points bigger on the back of the end zone.
Oh my God. Yo, Twitter never disappoints, bro. They're gonna be like, look at our halftime show, bro. We got blacks, we got whites, we got women, we got
everything.
We got everything, bro. Young, old. Like, look, man, we're super diverse, man. Shout out Brian Flores. Listen,
whatever it turns out to be, man. Like,
he's gonna get paid. They're gonna settle because they're not gonna want this to come out. And if he got more text messages, like he got more receipts, Belichick's like, bro, pay this fucking guy. Like, just make him go away. Unfortunately, it's gonna be the last paycheck he gets from an NFL team.
Right.
I hope not, man, because he's good, man. Like, I'm happy about sort of the Tennessee's coach. Like, I don't think he's a problem there. But I'd take Brian Flores if he was available if Vrabel left, right? Like, I wouldn't trade him for Vrabel. But
I don't even know who. The Bears got some dude from Indianapolis.
Oh, did they make a hire?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize they made a hire.
They hired a GM. They got the GM, I think, is from Kansas City, I want to say.
Oh, wow.
Don't quote me on that. They hired, I believe, the offensive coordinator or maybe defensive coordinator. I don't know. It just didn't matter from the Colts.
Wow, you guys are going to be pissed.
I don't care, bro.
When Minnesota hires Harbaugh and they go off.
Yep. I'm going to be a Viking fan, bro.
Because I think Harbaugh, dude, and Flores, to me, were the, like, hot commodities this offseason. Those are the guys you should have went after. Dabo, I'm going to try to find a way to say this. It doesn't sound mean. How many super overweight successful NFL coaches do we know right now?
Andy Reid.
There's a certain that's fair. But I would say there's a certain level of discipline that I need you to have as a head coach in the NFL. And listen, I hope I'm wrong. He might be fine. I'm probably fat shaming here. These are all jokes, people.
All right, on that fat joke, tell them where they can find us.
Yo, if you're not following us already, every major streaming platform, man, go check us out. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, JioSaavn, Ghana, Podchaser, Pocket Cast, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts. We're on all of it. And on YouTube, man, hit that like, subscribe button somewhere here. They're both, on each side. Hit that. Follow us on YouTube, man. You guys have been awesome, man. It's been cool. It's been going up steadily week by week, man. So, follow us. Tell your friends. Tell your pizza man. Tell everybody, yo.
As always, thank you guys. We really appreciate you. And if you're watching the YouTube, I'm about to finish this drink. I got pieces of strawberry in here. It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Check out the drink. Let us know what you think. And we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Peace.
Bye.